Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the What a Juice channel, and welcome back to another Madden 24 rebuild. I'm excited for this one. This is getting back to the normal rebuilds. We're not doing any crazy challenges today, not any crazy stipulations or rules. It's just a normal, cut and dry rebuild, a good old-fashioned rebuild of the LA Chargers. That is right. The Chargers, you may be thinking, Juice, the Chargers don't need a rebuild. They're a good team, and I do agree, the Chargers are a good team, but there are some things that could be overhauled or adjusted or helped along to make this team where they should be, which is a perennial AFC title contender and Super Bowl contender, because honestly, they have the talent to do it. Most importantly, they have a quarterback, which a lot of teams around the league can't really say. Justin Herbert will most likely be our quarterback for the entire rebuild. I hope, as long as we can keep him around under contract, but I think he's already under contract for a decent amount of time, so we shouldn't really have to worry about that. But this Charger team, we know Brandon Staley, one of the more questionable decision makers in coaching right now, in NFL head coaching, makes a lot of weird decisions. They lose games they probably shouldn't lose a lot of the time, and there's a reason why they're not really a playoff contender most seasons. I'm hoping to change that. We can do a little bit of patchworking to help this team out, and I'm hoping maybe within 3-4 seasons we can get this team to a championship, which is something they haven't done, I don't think, ever? Or maybe they did it back in the 80s? Because there were some good Charger teams back in like the late 70s, early 80s. I don't know if they ever won a championship, though. I don't remember. I don't think so. But maybe they did. I don't know. I don't really know that like 70, 80, early 80s time period that well. So they could have won a championship. I might be mistaken. But I know for the past 30 years they haven't won anything. So they've been close. I don't know how they didn't win one with like Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates. Actually, I do know how, because they had to go up against Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger and all those guys in that time period. So that's probably why they didn't. But the Chargers do have a good history of quarterbacks. Drew Brees, before he became Drew Brees. Then they got Phillip Rivers, obviously. Yeah, Phillip Rivers! That's my Phillip Rivers impression, if you didn't know. It doesn't sound anything like Phillip Rivers, but it's what I think he looks like he would sound like. So then obviously you got Justin Herbert. So a lot of history at quarterback here, a lot of history at running back as well, but we're looking to make this Charger team back into what they were previously, but go that next step and win a championship. So I hope you guys are excited. If you are, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, leave a comment down below for other teams, maybe your favorite team you want to see me take on, and if you want to see me take on any other rebuilding challenges or stipulations or rules or restrictions that you want to see me take on and rebuild a team. Leave them down below in the comments, and let's get into the rebuild. Now, with a team like the Chargers, it's not really necessarily a rebuild. It's more like a retooling, because obviously we've got this man right here, Justin Herbo, the Herbert man, what is he, like the Oregon high school future farmer, FFA, fish cat, I don't know, whatever that meme is. He's a stud. He was a stud at Oregon. He's a stud in the NFL. He's got great throw power, great accuracies. He's a really solid player, and most importantly, he's only 25 years old. So he's going to be our quarterback for the rebuild, and he's hopefully going to be the main piece that takes us all the way to a championship. Running back position is a different story. We have obviously a really great running back in Austin Eckler, but he is getting a little up there in age at 28 years old, and running backs in Madden tend to start to regress around this time, maybe a year or two later, but we hopefully can get some good years out of him. And I am going to keep the Charger offensive defensive playbooks for at least the first season, maybe even the second season, depending on how we do, obviously. And then if I need to, we'll go to Kansas City and Dallas because that is my go-to. Maybe we should try out some other ones some other time, some other playbooks, maybe like Falcon. Falcons always do well in simulation. Niners always do well in simulation. Maybe we should try out some other playbooks. But if we need to go to a different playbook like Kansas City, we certainly can. But Austin Eckler, very good player. He is 28 years old, though, so we have to worry about that. As for receivers, talking about getting a little bit older, we do have a couple receivers that are on the older side. Keenan Allen's still a phenomenal receiver in real life, does have a little bit of injury history, but injuries aren't a thing in this universe, so we don't have to worry about that. But he's a stud receiver. 31 years old is a little bit worrying because he's going to start regressing probably after this season. So we might have to look for receiver is probably going to be the one position that we're certainly going to have to change, because I do have another guy in Mike Williams who is also a very talented receiver, also with some injury history. So we do have to worry about that. Not in this, we don't have to worry about the injury history, but we do have to worry about the age. He's also 28 years old, so that superstar development will help him not regress as quickly as maybe somebody with star development would at 20 years old. But we could have to look around the league for some other receiver help, so we'll keep that in mind. We do have a young rookie in Quentin Johnston who I'm looking to become maybe the guy. Maybe he takes over for Keenan Allen as the #1 receiver. He's very talented, very fast, good young receiver, big body at 6'4", 215, very big target. And he's already got some good base stats at 77 overall, about to be a 78 really. So that's a nice starting point for receiver. And then we've got ourselves Joshua Palmer, who's also pretty young and pretty talented. So maybe these two guys can be the next Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And then we just get two other guys behind them. That's a possibility. The offensive line is intriguing because it's very young, except for obviously Corey Lindsey is a little bit past his prime at 32 years old. Go Bucks. But we might have to look for another center, depending on how quickly he regresses. But as for like Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson, we're pretty solid on that left side. As long as we can keep these boys around, we've got ourselves our franchise left tackle, left guard combination for the rebuild. So that's very good. I'm very happy about that. Tight end, we've got Gerald Everett and Darnell Parham. They're a little bit on the older side. I don't think Darnell Parham's that old, though. He's 26. That's not super old. But obviously we're not in Kansas City's playbook, so tight ends aren't going to be that much of a factor. But we'll see how they simulate. And then on the defense, there's obviously some bright spots. You've got the main man. You've got Joseph Bosa, the shrug master, the big sack machine, Go Bucks, from the Ohio State University. Maybe we should try to pair up him with Nick Bosa. That'd be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty tough to do, though, unless he's in free agency. But Joey Bosa, obviously a stud. He is 28 years old. Defensive guys usually make it in Madden to around 31, 32 before they really start to regress. So we should be comfortable with Joey Bosa. The rest of the defensive line is going to need some work. The corners are going to need some work because obviously the only guy that I like right here is Asante Samuel Jr., the only guy with real potential to do anything in this team. We can obviously focus on that in the draft because obviously there's always going to be corners in a Madden auto-generated draft, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Safety is going to be a problem because free safety is not a position that I like right now, but obviously Derwin James is a freaking stud. Has to control himself on those not roughing the passers. I think it's unnecessary roughness penalties he's been getting in real life, so he has to chill out on that. But obviously a former Brooklyn Baron, we know him very well. Very talented player and still pretty young at 27, so we still got some good development from him, and he's an X factor, so that's pretty good. Linebackers are hit and miss. You've got veterans in Eric Kendricks and Khalil Mack. Obviously, we know how good Khalil Mack can be. We've had him in previous rebuilds where we've put him on the defensive line, and he's absolutely dominated, so we'll see how he does. He's obviously a future Hall of Famer. He's a stud. But then you've got Kenneth Murray, who is a younger player, 24 years old, doesn't really develop. At least I've personally never seen him develop in Madden, in a Madden simulation. Maybe if we give him the right scheme and the right momentum and the right morale around him, maybe he can turn out to be a really, really good player. I've personally never seen him develop in anything crazy. I've never seen him like turn into a 94, 95 overall. So that is basically the team we're working with. It's a good team. It's a very, very good team. We're starting at a very good spot already. But we just, like I said in the beginning, we just need to add a little bit of patchwork, couple guys on the offensive line, a couple extra receivers, maybe a tight end, And then on the defense, probably obviously need a safety, a couple corners, you need a couple defensive linemen. The defense needs a lot more work than the offense does, let's just say that. And speaking of getting enough some patchwork in the draft, let's find out who our top prospects are going to be in this first draft class. You've got a guy out of Notre Dame, a Golden Domer, as the #1 guy, DeMarcus Sims. Okay, we'll see where he ends up finishing out, but you got obviously a bunch of quarterbacks, a bunch of tackles. That's usually the go-to auto-generated is quarterbacks and right tackles and left tackles. Those are basically everybody that's up there. Sometimes you get some defensive linemen and some D tackles and corners, but it's mainly just these positions. Ooh, a middle linebacker. That's definitely a need. We definitely need to focus on defense in this draft. And it looks like it's going to be outside linebacker, pass rusher, and quarterback are going to be the strengths of this class. So if we need to fix this out, so we've got D tackle and interior offensive line as our 3-star. That's not going to really work. So I will fire that scout. Sorry, Suzanne, you can find another job. And we will look for this perfectly right here. Defensive end and outside linebacker. That's going to be perfect. Calvin Heath, you are hired, and you are going to be our national scout for season 1. Everybody else can pretty much stay, except for we probably don't need 2 outside or offensive tackle scouts. But it doesn't really matter. So we'll just keep it. We'll keep it like that, and hopefully there are some good outside linebackers and defensive ends in this class. But that is everything we need to talk about for this opening area, this opening time. We can simulate to the end of season 1, figure out where we are, and go from there. I'm expecting us to be pretty good because this Chargers team is obviously just pretty good in general. So I'm expecting us to be a contender for the playoffs. I don't know if we'll make it in year 1, but we'll find out. I'll see you guys at the end of year number 1. We finished up year number 1's regular season. We make it to the postseason, and we're actually playing in it. We are in Super Wildcard Weekend against our rivals, the Kansas City Chiefs. We finished 9-8, so an okay season. Obviously, nothing too crazy, but that's a good base start for year number 1 when we haven't really made any changes. Really, we haven't done any changes. This is just the base Chargers team. So Justin Herbert, 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, 4 picks. A very efficient season. I'd like to see these numbers jump up a little bit. If we could see like 4,400 yards and 30 touchdowns, I'd like to see those kind of numbers. But we'll see what we do. 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns for Austin Eckler. Obviously, the Charger playbook is very running back oriented, and he did very, very good. Keenan Allen had 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Mike Williams. The receivers just don't get a lot of love. That's just what the Charger playbook is. Even with Justin Herbert having such a talented arm and being such a talented quarterback, the wide receivers just don't get a lot of love in the Charger playbook. So maybe we'll have to take that into account and not go Kansas City, but go with a playbook like Cincinnati or something like that, or Miami even, where the receivers get a lot of love. That could be something. 2 100 tackle seasons. One from Eric Kendrick with 106, and Kenneth Murray actually had 102. So that's a perfect way for him to develop, is if he just keeps getting tackles after tackles after tackles and dominates as a middle linebacker. Michael Davis had 97 tackles. Joey Bosa had 78 tackles with 14 for loss. He did not lead. It was Morgan Fox with 18 tackles for loss. Sebastian Joseph-Day had 15. Bosa had 14. Mack had 13. And Tui Puloto, I think is how you say that, has 10. Sack leader was Bosa with 19. Very good. Maybe he won Defensive Player of the Year. That'd be awesome. 13 for Mack, and then a couple for a few other guys. Derwin James leads with 5 picks. That's a little shocking, actually. 4 for Asante Samuel Jr., 2 for a couple guys, 1 for a couple guys. And that is what our team looks like. So, year number 1 was good. We obviously need to adjust some things in the offseason. We have a good amount of money. I think we have like 50 million, 45 million, something like that. There was only like 4 players that needed to re-sign on new contracts, and they were nobody of note. It was our starting free safety, who's like a 70-something overall, and then it was Will Clapp. I had to bring Will Clapp back because he's Will Clapp. So he's back too on like a 5-year deal for like no money. So we had to bring him back, and then we saved the rest of our money because there was not really anybody else we wanted. But we take on the we take on the Chiefs. We are the Chargers. We take on the Chiefs in the wild card round. I doubt we move on, but it'd be awesome if we did. And we will lose 10-3. Yeah, I pretty much could have put my entire life on the line there, saying we were going to lose that game. and it would have been perfectly fine. So we are knocked out at the end of the wild card round, and this is just your number one. Like I said, we haven't made any changes. This team is just a base team. We haven't done anything to this team yet. Once we get through our first off season, we make some moves in free agency, hopefully get some good draft picks. Next year, we can improve on the 9-8 season and hopefully dominate. It is Cowboys-Ravens. Ravens are an interesting playbook, too, because they've got Lamar Jackson, but we don't really have a quarterback that can fit the Lamar Jackson role. But maybe that doesn't matter too much. I don't know. Seems to be working for them. And they are in the Super Bowl against the Cowboys. Let's see who takes it. And I was wrong. We actually, the year the cap rolled around, it's now $94 million in available cap. So we've got a ton of money to burn. Cowboys win the first Super Bowl of the rebuild. And it looks like actually about $20 million of that cap room is being paid now because the league year, I guess, has rolled over. So 75 is our official amount of money. That's still a good amount of money. Dak wins MVP of the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes is MVP of the league, and your typical players are the winners of the Players of the Year and Rookies of the Year. No surprises there. But with everything rolled over now, we have about $75 million to work with in both the draft and in free agency. I really hope there's a couple good players in positions that we need in free agency, because in the no playbook rebuild where I did with the Dolphins, I think, I didn't really have any free agents that I could go after because there was just nobody that I wanted. We had so much money to spend, I just couldn't use it. So I hope that's not the case here. But we don't need to re-sign anybody else because, like I said, there was like 4 players that we need to re-sign, and it was nobody of note. These are the only guys that we have to re-sign. I guess we could re-sign Cameron Dicker just so we have a kicker. Dicker the kicker, so we'll offer him that. It's a kicker. What does it matter? We'll get him back for the rest of the rebuild. And then we will go into free agency with about $73 million. Yeah, 73.4. Whew, come on. Give me some good free agents. Give me some good free agents. I would prefer like Jamar Chase and I don't know, whoever else is good. But obviously that's not going to happen. So it's not actually that good at all. I might just save my money. There's nobody here that I want, at least in the top half. We could use an outside linebacker, and there is not really at 72 overall at 29. Even though we start development, that's kind of a waste of money. Devin Bush is intriguing because who knows how good Eric Kendrick is going to be, so I could spend some money on Devin Bush. Don't want Chandler Jones. Travis Gibson, I wish he wasn't so low of an overall at such an older age. Corner, I don't really like. I mean, Jeff Okudah, maybe. That could be a good one, a good pickup for us. The defensive line, there's just nobody there. Nobody that I want. Offensive line, there's not even like a patchwork fill-in that I would want to spend money on, so that's not an option. Tight ends are nothing. Wide receivers are nothing. Running backs are nothing. I think the only 2 guys we go after are Devin Bush and Jeff Okudah, and we kind of just go to the draft and see what happens from there. That seems to be the best option for us. We'll offer Devin Bush a good amount of money because he doesn't want to be here, so that takes us ahead of everybody else, and then we'll go and offer Jeff Okudah because he's only 25, so he's still got some good years left in development if he actually plays well for us and signs with us. So we'll offer him a good amount of money. We're tied with the Saints are going after both the guys we're going after. We will hit evaluate the offers. They both signed, and they both signed with us. Only Devin Bush did. Okudah signed with the Broncos. So that's a little annoying. But we do have a new pairing for Kenneth Murray. So that's nice. We have a new pairing for Kenneth Murray. And we will... Devin Bush is basically here to just fill out the time until Eric Kendrick retires. It does say that Eric Kendrick is a 82 overall right outside linebacker. I could move Khalil Mack down to right end, which I might do because he's starting to get a little older, so maybe it'll be a little easier on him to be a pass rusher like that on the line. And then that gets rid of Morgan Fox. He's no longer there. And then we can move Eric Kendrick because it said he was a 82 overall right outside linebacker. So we can move, I don't want to restructure his contract. We can move him to that spot. and then have Devin Bush play. So that seems like it all works out. It all works out. Look at that. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So Mac goes down on the defensive line. We have Kendricks out there, Bush and Murray, and then we need a new left outside linebacker. We still need to work on the defensive line in these two positions. Mac is kind of just a Band-Aid at this point. But okay, considering what we had at free agency at our disposal, there wasn't really much. Coming away with Devin Bush is pretty solid. And we still have a ton of money in cap if we need to re-sign somebody next year or the year after. Because remember, this is only year number 1. So we've got a ton of room to grow, a ton of room to make some moves in future seasons, which I'm super excited about. So we'll get to the draft. I don't know where we're going to be picking since we did make the playoffs. I'm guessing probably the high teens, maybe very low 20s. I would guess maybe 16 or 17 is probably where we're picking. Maybe 18. So we've got mock draft number 5 in our private workouts. If we go to mock draft number 5, we are picking at number 21. I was kind of close. And they have us taking a right tackle, Christian Vernon. Okay, I don't necessarily hate that. We do need a right tackle. Is he good, though? He's 6'6", 308 out of Alabama. He's not a great athlete, but he looks solid enough as an actual tackle, just not very good as an athlete. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Who's below us that we could have a chance at? I like this guy, Tyler Ford. There's also this guy, Anthony McDonald, who is a pass rusher. We could turn him to a left outside linebacker, and hopefully he does good. I might want to use one of my private workouts on him just to figure out how good a true talent he is. But there's also this guy right here, Jason Drew. Not as fast, not as good of an athlete, but maybe better technically. So maybe we don't want to prioritize the athlete part. We want to prioritize the actual skills, because he looks a lot better as just a skilled all-around player than McDonald. McDonald looks more like just a raw athlete. I kind of like Jason Drew a little bit better. And obviously there's some good tackles available and stuff. But I'm definitely going to use 2 of my workouts on these 2 right outside linebackers for sure. And then maybe we use one on this guy, Tyler Ford, as a center. Because remember, Corey Linsley is starting to get a little older and maybe regressing. So maybe at first we can have him be a guard if we take him. And then when Linsley retires inevitably or leaves, we can move him back to center and he'll be good. That's just a couple things I'm thinking about. But let's definitely get there with the private workouts. So we will go and find those 2 right outside linebackers, McDonald and Jason Drew. Perfect. And then we will go to the center position and find out officially about Tyler Ford. So I also did scout Brennan Waddle because he was in round 2 to 3, which is where I thought we could have a chance at a center. So we'll scout that guy. Perfect. We're going to know officially how good those 2 right outside linebackers are. And we shouldn't have to worry about the teams reaching on them because they were still a little bit farther down than us. So we should be good on that. I think this is going to be a good draft. I do. Let's go to the prospects to find out officially how good they are. All right. We have both round 1 and 2 talents, but I do think that Jason Drew is the better player. He's a power rush 6'3". He's not as good of an athlete, but just technically he looks better than McDonald does. He's got B block shed, he's got A play rec, power moves, and pursuit. His tackling's a B. His hit power and impact blocking are Bs. And then McDonald, we'll add them to the favorites. And then Anthony McDonald is the better athlete for sure. I mean, the elite acceleration, elite speed, great change of direction. He's the much better athlete. But skill-wise, he's got a lot to work on. He's got A finesse moves, but C block shed, C man coverage, C power moves. Now those probably aren't super low. Those are probably maybe low to mid 70s. Low 70s probably. But I think Jason Drew is probably the better player overall. Even though he's not as good of an athlete. And then the center, Tyler Ford, looks really good. If he's available, we'll definitely have to think about maybe taking him. Or we can prioritize this guy in the second round because he also looks decently good. Not as good of an actual center as Tyler Ford is, but it could be a good replacement if we end up not taking Tyler Ford. But we'll get into the draft and find out. Let's get into the draft and start figuring out what we're going to be doing. Bears have the first pick. No surprise there. First pick in the draft is DeMarcus Sims out of Notre Dame. Let's skip right to our pick. We don't really care about the top of the draft. So here we are. Our pick is up, pick 21. We've got McDonald still on the board, Jason Drew still on the board, and Tyler Ford still on the board. So everybody we were interested in is still available. Could we trade back and still get one of the guys? I want to get Jason Drew, and I think we might be able to trade back a little bit further into the first round and still be able to walk away with our guys, unless these draft picks aren't super valuable. Niners are only offering me the 1 first-round pick. I would really like to come away with 2 first-round picks, one for another year, but it looks like we're only going to be able to get 1 first-round pick out of this one, so that's a little upsetting. I guess I could try to go and do it myself, but then I'd be giving up more assets than I would want to. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make our pick, and it's probably going to be Jason Drew. Yeah, I think it's going to be Jason Drew. And then we're just going to have to ride it out with whatever else is on the board. Jason Drew, welcome to the LA Chargers. Hidden development, which is nice. We'll move him over to left outside linebacker so that he can play instead of Tui Tulo, whatever it is. I forget his name. I already forget his name. But he's got 87 acceleration, 80 speed, which is a little bit slow for a power rusher, but he just looked better as a pure rusher, pass rusher, than McDonald did. So we'll go to the second round, and in simulation, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. If we were actually playing the games, I probably would have chose McDonald. But the second round is now up. If that center's on the board, I don't think Tyler Ford's going to be there. He would have gotten taken pretty quickly. But the center might be there. The outside linebackers are all gone, which I expected. Not shocked. Jazz Drake is still here. I looked at him a little bit. I was curious about him. But he doesn't look like a second-round pick, maybe a fourth-round pick. Middle linebacker, there could be some ones there. Ooh, who's this? Who are you? Maurice Jarrett. Okay, that's more of a second-round pick. I'll keep my eye on him. If there's not really anybody else that I like, we could go for him. Although Joe Friedman, what's his archetype? Run stopper, round 3 to 4. We might be grabbing linebackers like crazy because he looked pretty good as well. D tackle, not really much there. The whole pass rushing thing is not really a ton. You got JJ North from Duke. Okay. B finesse move. What's his archetype? Speed rusher. Could be a solid day 2 or day 1 pick or day 2 pick, I guess. As for the center, so Waddle is still available. Do we want to go with Waddle? He's not a great athlete, and he doesn't really have good stats. He could be normal development, which I don't really want to take in the second round. I think what we're going to do is we're going to prioritize athletes. We're going to prioritize skill position players in this first draft, and then we will go with offensive linemen next year, hopefully, unless there's some crazy people there. But I kind of want to just take outside linebackers. I mean, both these guys look too good to pass up on. JJ North also looks solid. Do I take JJ North and then Joe Friedman in the third round if he's still available? I think that might be what I want to do. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's take JJ North, 6'4" out of Duke. Maybe he can be a dominant player. He's also hidden development, so that'll pair alongside Mac and Joey Bosa. 6'4", 267. Looks pretty solid. And I really hope that the Friedman dude is there in the third round. He should be because he was round 3 to 4. So I'm really hoping he's here in the third round. Please be available, Friedman, because you look like a really good player. Please be available. He is not available. Man, he really looked that good. He looks pretty solid. Is there anybody else? I mean, we don't need a linebacker. I was going to take him because he looked pretty good. That's why I was going to take him. Kerry Benjamin. Kerry Benjamin looks solid. He's a run-stopping outside linebacker. We don't really need another one. How big is he? He's 6'3", 243. He's got B zone coverage, C man coverage, B hit power, A pursuit. Could we turn him into a safety? Is he too big? 6'3", 243. That's a pretty heavy safety. I'm kind of curious about turning him into a safety. I'm going to take him. Hidden development, very good athlete. 86 speed, 89 acceleration. He could maybe be a safety. He might be too big. He might be too big. His overall might not be good enough to be a safety. Or if he's turned into a safety. But we'll give it a shot. And then into the 4th round, I don't think there's going to be anybody there. This has been a very good draft, though. We've gotten hidden development players. We've looked pretty solid. There is a man-to-man corner. That is a weird way to spell Donovan. Donovan Roundtree. Not a great athlete. His play rec is trash. Don't really want him. What about this corner right up here? He's around 2 to 3, so he must be not great if he's still here in the 4th round, and he doesn't look that great. If you got C's as your top position, or in the range, you're not going to be that good. What about this guy? Oh, this guy we looked at, Hugh Ayers. He's still here. I might just take him because he looks honestly not bad. But there's not really anything else. There's some interesting pieces for the 4th round, but nothing that I need to absolutely take. Damian Allen. There was a guy that was an undrafted in the offensive line. Where's he at? See if I can find him. Here he is. Steve Heenan. If he's a good athlete, he could be solid. He's not that great of an athlete. I was hoping he'd maybe have some elites. But I think I'm going to take... Who was I going to take? I was going to take that Hugh Ayers guy. Yeah, Hugh Ayers. He's around 3 to 4. We get him in the 4th round. If he's good, he's a steal. But he's just okay. He's a solid player. But I think that's going to be the end of my draft. We'll let the CPU handle the rest of it with 5, 6, and 7. We came away with some very solid players. Some very solid players, especially on the defensive side of things. We came away with a defensive lineman. JJ North is what his name is, I think. So hopefully he can be the replacement for Khalil Mack when he inevitably starts to regress, even more than he already has. And then we took an outside linebacker, 2 outside linebackers that one of them we're going to try to turn into a safety. I don't know if that's going to work. We've got ourselves a 74 overall in Jason Drew. I knew he was going to be good. He had just so much good stats, base stats that I knew he was going to be good. JJ North is going to be a project, but that's good because he's not going to start year number 1. Then you've got Kerry Benjamin at 73. That's the guy that we might turn into a safety. We took Hugh Ayers. He's a 68. They got a 66 overall quarterback, a tight end at 73, and then they actually took Steve Heenan. Look at that. He's a 65. That's kind of funny actually. Okay, so if I go into Kerry Benjamin and we turn him into a safety right away, does he go higher or lower than a 73? Because this will be very, very crucial. I know he's a big guy. Can he play safety? He turns into a 73. He stays the same. So we'll keep him at a 73, and he can start right away for us. That's a big free safety. That's perfect. How good was the rest of this class, though? The class was not great. Mello Woods was a top-rated player, and he was a 78 overall. So it's not that great of a class. Friedman was a 77. Ugh, I knew he was going to be good. I wanted him so bad. He went in the 3rd round. I knew he was going to be good. Man, that sucks. Okay, that's fine. Where is the guy that went before us? He's not up here. Here he is. He's a 74. Anthony McDonald's a 74. So he's the same as Jason Drew. He's just a little bit of a better athlete than Jason Drew is. Okay, I would have been fine with either of them. Does he have a development trait? He does. I would have been fine with either of them. But Jason Drew, I think, is the better overall player. Okay. Coming out of that first draft, I feel pretty confident with this team. We filled some holes on the defense. Didn't fill any holes on the offense, though. On the offensive line, at least. So we'll have to work on that for next year. Or for next offseason. But I do feel pretty confident with this team. Let's go to the adjust the lineup. Gerald Everett's actually a superstar development player. And they drafted us Johnston, who has the development trait. That's nice. You love to see that. And we'll actually start him over Parham. So we do need to work on the offensive line a little bit, but the receivers are looking solid. And then on the defense, we've got Benjamin starting at free safety now. We've got Jason Drew starting over Tui Poloto. And North will just be buried on the depth chart for right now because he's a little bit low overall. But the linebackers look good now. The defensive line looks okay. And we look pretty solid. I'm hoping we can win at least 10 or 11 games next year. We'll find out. I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. Maybe with another playoff berth? We'll find out. We finished up year number 2, and we currently got better. We finished 11-6, still second in the division. The Chiefs are going to be so hard to overcome because they're the Chiefs. So to win the division, we are going to have an absolute fantastic season one of these years. But we did get better. We finished 9-8 in year number 1, 11-6 in year number 2. So that's some nice, steady progression from the boys. You love to see it. Justin Herbert's numbers, okay, his interception number went up a lot. His touchdown number didn't go up much, or even at all. 3,400 yards. Okay, so the Charger playbook on offense doesn't really suit Justin Herbert. I might have to change it to like the Bengal playbook or the Cowboy offense playbook. That might be, we might go Cowboy offense because Dak usually puts up crazy numbers. So I might do that for year number 3. 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns for Austin Eckler. But yeah, see, the receiver numbers are just not producing the way that they should in this offense. So we might switch to Dallas offense. I'll keep Charger defense because I think that's going to be still pretty solid. But we'll see. Kenneth Murray dominates once again with 132 tackles. That's a crazy season. Kendrick's got 116 again. Samuel was up there. Some tackle for loss. Khalil Mack had another good season. Khalil Mack's just a solid player to have on your simulations. I know he's super old, but if you can get him for the first couple of years, he's going to be really, really productive for you. Joey Bosa, 13 tackles for loss, 12 sacks as well. Sebastian Joseph-Day had a decent season in terms of tackles for loss. Sack leader was Bosa with 12, so not a lot of production from the boys this year. Jason Drew, our rookie, had 46 tackles, a sack and a half. Okay, that's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year in numbers, but it's still a solid rookie season, and then a bunch of interceptions from the boys. Okay, so that is where we sit at year number 2. We've made the playoffs, back in the wild card for the second straight year, this time going up against the Texans. That's a little bit of a more favorable matchup than what we had last season against the Chiefs. So we're sitting pretty good. It looks like Johnston, the auto-drafted tight end, is a star development player. And then on the defense, both Drew and Benjamin are stars. No surprise there. I'm not shocked. Okay. And it looks like Benjamin is actually developing pretty well as a safety. So that might have been a little bit of galaxy brain type moves. Let's simulate to the divisional round, see if we can take a win and improve our team. 31-14, big victory. Now we're going up against the Ravens. This is a tough matchup. A very tough matchup. I don't know if we're going to be able to come away with this. The Ravens are always very productive, very good team in simulation. This is going to be tough. Maybe we can go to the AFC title game. I don't know. We do win, 21-13. Okay. I'll take it. Now we take on the Chiefs. This is a massive matchup because the Chiefs are really our barrier for us to be like the best team in the league. We got to get past the Chiefs and Patty Mahomes. He had a fantastic year. 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, 3 picks. Are you kidding me? Unbelievably good year. But here we go. Chiefs and Chargers in the AFC title game. We lose 34-29. I didn't think we would move on. But hey, that's very good progress from getting in year number 1 to the wild card and losing to the Chiefs to getting to the AFC Championship in year number 2 and losing to the Chiefs. So that is very good production, I'd say. Very good progress, not production, progress. And it is a rematch, Chiefs and Eagles. Can the Eagles get their revenge and deny Patrick Mahomes a championship? They will. Yes, they will. 44-38. Eagles beat the Chiefs. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Brandon Graham, whoever else is on that team. All right, season recap. Nakobe Dean wins Super Bowl MVP. He must have had a pick or a fumble or something. No awards for the Chargers, but Jalen Hurts does take home regular season MVP. So Eagles just cleaning house with the awards that year. But we got a ton of money. A ton of money, and there are a couple of contract negotiations we're going to have to re-sign some players. but it shouldn't take up that much money. I would guess we probably have about 80, 70 million when we get done with this. We've got Mike Williams. He's 30 years old at this point, but he's still a very solid player for us. So if we can get by with a 4-year contract and about this much money, that shouldn't kill us in the long run. He's coming back. Asante Samuel, he's only 25. Absolutely need him back. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to play here because he doesn't like the income tax. But it's not your decision. So you will come back. He's coming back. Asante Samuel. And then Khalil Mack, I probably should bring back just because of his natural production and simulation. And he is coming back as well. And we still have 115 million. I really hope, and I don't want any of these guys, I really hope that this free agent class is good. Because with this much money, we really need to go and sign some players and fill some holes and dominate next year in year 3. So we'll find out. We've got the money. Who do we spend it on? Not really anybody. Dante Johnson wouldn't be a bad shout. But there's not a whole lot here. Okay. So we're going to focus on offensive linemen in the draft. So we don't have to worry about offensive linemen. But receiver-wise, getting a guy like Deontay Johnson could be fun. We might go for him. Tight end we don't need. Offensive line, I said we were going to focus on the draft. Defensive line, don't necessarily need anymore unless there was a D tackle that I want, but there's not really. So outside linebacker we're pretty solid on now. Corner really is the only other thing that we could use. And there's a lot of older corners here. Man, this is not... Why is there just never anybody available for me to grab? I just want to spend my money. I want to give you guys money, but there's just nobody here that I want to give the money to. No safeties. I'll spend some money on Deontay Johnson. That might be a little bit of a waste. Because we have Keenan Allen, we have Mike Williams, we have Palmer, and we still have Quentin Johnston. So it might be a little bit of a waste to grab Deontay. I don't want to get Deontay Johnson. I don't even think there's anybody that I need or that I want. There's just nobody here that piques my interest. Maybe BJ Hill is a backup D tackle, but that's a stretch, really. Man, back-to-back free agency classes letting me down. I'll throw some money at BJ Hill just so I can say that I spent some money in free agency. A 3-year deal for BJ is not that bad. We're the top offer on him, not a surprise. And does he sign with us? He does. So we bring in a backup D tackle to pair alongside Sebastian Joseph Day. That is fine, I guess. There just wasn't anybody there. I mean, we could spend money on players, but is it really worth it at that point? We're just wasting money and filling holes with guys that are just going to get left out of the real team. So I'd rather save that money for a rainy day when we need to, I don't know, pay Justin Herbert again, or pay one of our offensive linemen. Zion Johnson probably is going to need a contract in this rebuild. Derwin James, no, he probably signed an extension. Who else? Asante Samuel maybe needs a new, or did we just got Asante Samuel, so we don't need Asante Samuel. You know what I'm talking about. Guys that are young that might need contracts in the future, might as well keep that money around. All right, so our pick is actually pick 30 because we we made it to the AFC title game. Is there anybody that I was intrigued by? I don't recognize any of these names, so I don't think that we have to worry about trading up. I think everybody that I was interested in are later in the draft. I'm pretty sure. If I go to my private workouts, I used my regional focus, or the national focus, on tackle, so we know pretty much everything we need to know about tackles, because that is kind of the positions that we need the most. So we know a lot about these guys, and we know a lot about these guys. We could know a little bit more about them if we absolutely want to. But then defensive line, we don't need to focus on too much, and there's not really anybody that great there. I did use a little bit of my stuff on this guy, Teron Allen. He looked okay, but with F power moves and C block shed, he doesn't look that great anymore. He doesn't look that great anymore, so we'll move away from him. I also used something on a corner. He was down the board pretty heavily. He's round 3 to 4. Bruce Driver, hardly know her. 6'2" zone corner, good enough athlete. He could be a nice round 3-4 pick. He was pretty much the best corner that we would have had an opportunity to grab, because we're going to focus this draft on offensive line, because that's pretty much the last hole that we need to fill. So Ernie Ward, I found, projected to go 3 to 4, looks really good. I mean, he looks really good. He's probably going to be a guy that we go after, absolutely. It's just a matter of who else do we want to spend some time focusing on, because we're picking at pick 30, so we need to go for guys that are like projected around 1 to 2. Those are going to be the guys that are still going to be on the board when we're picking. This guy is 6'8", and he's got great change of direction, elite change of direction. Tickle me intrigued. Arnold Hopkins, not as good of an athlete, but it looks like it's a solid pass blocker. And then if we go to the right tackle spot, we've got ourselves some okay players. We know 100% on a few guys. I'm more intrigued by that 6'8" dude. Maybe we need to learn some more about some of these guys. And we need to focus mainly on the guards, because the guards are going to be the ones that are so flexible. Like the centers and guards are going to be the ones that we can move around to different spots. So I'm going to use one on Ben O'Sullivan. I'm going to use one on... We're going to use one on Larry Rouse or Roos. And we're going to use one on Christopher Rollins, because he was 6'8", and I'm very curious about that. So we're going to focus everything on guards, and we are going to know who's going to be our filling in our offensive line, because that's exactly the holes that we need to fill, basically. Oh, year 2 draft. Year 2 draft. Let's start it up, baby. Start drafting. Pause the draft. Jets have the #1 overall pick. They take Dom Lucas. No surprise, he was the consensus #1 overall pick out of UCF. Next user pick, we pick at pick 30. Everybody that we had scouted should be there, except for maybe that tackle. The 6'8" tackle might not be there. He is not, because he was a left tackle, so that's okay. That's okay. The guys that we did scout are still here, including Ben Sullivan and Ernie Ward. I might just take both of them, because they're going to be more flexible than the tackles are. He looks okay. I'm going to take Ernie Ward, that is for sure. But is there a right tackle that I need to take? John Moses. John Moses looks okay. I think I might take John Moses. We take John Moses, then we come back into the center position and grab Ernie Ward. He's honestly better than Ben O'Sullivan, so I don't really want to waste a pick on him. I'm going to take John Moses. He might be normal development, but he looks solid enough. He's actually hidden development. John Moses is going to be our right tackle. Solid. We figured that out. And now if we come back and grab Ward in the second round, so we make sure we don't miss out on him. We're going to take him in the second round. Then we will be good to go. We've got our offensive line figured out then. Ernie Ward, here he is. He's a round 1 and 2 projection, and we are going to take him 92 strength. We're going to move him to right guard, and he's going to be absolutely perfect for us. So offensive line pretty much done now. Offensive line's been figured out. That's exactly what we needed to do. And now we move to the 3rd round. I'm going to check and see if that corner was there. Nazir Tripp is still on the board. Yikes. Is that corner still on the board? He is. Bruce Driver in the 3rd round. He didn't look amazing, but a 3rd round pick shouldn't be that. Actually, you know what? We might be able to get him in the 4th round. And if he's gone, it's not going to be that depressing if he's gone. Is there a D tackle that I like? There doesn't look like there's anybody with great stats. DeMarcus Huff, speed rusher, 6'1". Doesn't look amazing. The block shedding being a D, I don't like. Carl Towns? Okay. There's just not a whole lot of intriguing talent. I might just take the dude, the corner, because there's not a whole lot that I like. Unless there's a running back or receiver that I can grab. Trayvon Goddard? Nope. What about receivers? Not taking Nazir Trip. Although I think I looked at Nazir Trip and he was really fast. Yeah, he's got elite speed and elite jumping, but he can't do anything. He's got Fs everywhere. He looks bad, but that makes me want to take him. Nazir Trip, welcome to the team. 99 speed. I don't know if I've ever drafted a receiver with 99 speed. Oh, he can't play wide receiver, but he can certainly run. He's horrible at everything as a receiver. Maybe we could turn him into a running back. 6'1", Nazir Trip. Now, if that corner's on the board, I'll take him. If he's not, no big deal. He didn't look that great anyway. But I really am happy that I took that wide receiver. Maybe he's a running back. Who knows? Let's go take a look. Is he still on the board? He's not. No big deal. He didn't look amazing. But I'm happy that we took that receiver. 99 speed. That's insane. So we will skip to the end of the draft. I'm very curious to see how low of it overall he is, because I'm guessing he's going to be like in the mid to high 60s, I would think. He can't play receiver. He's not a receiver. But maybe he's a nice elusive running back. Maybe. We still have a ton of money, by the way. I think we had a good draft. We got our offensive line figured out. Absolutely. 73 for Moses, 74 for Ward. Absolutely amazing. And Nazir Trap is a 67, but with that 99 speed, I need to take a look at these stats to see if he's a running back. So he's got the acceleration and the speed, absolutely. His agility is 81. His ball carry vision is 78. This dude's a running back. The juke moves is 75. His break tackle is not great. And how does he only have 87 kick return at 99 speed? This dude's a running back. I'm making him a running back. He might even go up in overall. 6'1". He's a little bit of a light running back, but we turned that linebacker into a safety, so it worked out for us. How good is he as a running back? He's a 65. We don't need to have a high running back because we already have ourselves a dude in Alson Eckler. But that's pretty awesome to have a 99 speed dude. I'll take it. We're going to turn Ernie Ward into a right guard, and he is a 75. Beautiful. We also have a corner. Deontay Dunn actually is a 70 overall. They got in the 4th round. And he has no development, but he could be good. You never know. He's looks pretty solid, I guess. Got good speed. And then they took a bunch of guys that aren't really important. How good was the class? The class was 280s. Tim Witt and Donaldson, but the rest of the class isn't like super good. It was just kind of another average mid class, I guess. And Ernie Ward's right up there in the top half of the class. You love to see it. We got our offensive line figured out. Everybody is good to go now. Headed into year number 3. I'm expecting to get back to the AFC Championship. I mean, we set that precedent, so we might have to get back there. We have to get back there. Let's do the adjust the lineups, and it looks like, oh no, Corey Lindsey retired, so Ernie Ward has to play center because we're not having that dude play. We're not having that dude play center, the Heenan guy, or whoever we drafted last year, or they drafted for us. So we have to have Ward play center. That's a little bit upsetting, but luckily Saylor is up to a 76 with morale. Okay, so the offensive line's not fully figured out, but it's still pretty good. And it looks like our speed receiver / running back's not even in the top half of the lineup. And then on the defense, we look pretty good. We have some more development from the boys. Where is Jason Drew? Why is he not playing left outside linebacker? I'll have to make him a left. That's why I was going to make him one last year, but I didn't. I'll make him a left outside linebacker officially. And then we can move on. We can move on up the ladder of success. And Jason Drew will start. Kendrick over there. Bush and Murray in the middle. Defensive line's looking good. Star development for North. We need to work on corner. And we need to work on getting another guard. And then we'll be pretty good, basically. So this is the team for year number 3. I'll simulate to the end of season 3 to the playoffs. Maybe best record in the division? I doubt it, but we'll find out. Year number 3 is in the books, and we were actually the number 1 team, not only in our division, but in the entire AFC. We had the 1 seed. We finished 13-4. The Chiefs actually had a down year. 10-7, didn't make the playoffs. I'm happy. I told you that the Chiefs were going to be our wall, where if they were bad, then we were going to have a chance to be a lot better. We finished 13-4. I forgot to mention at the end of the last clip where we started simulating in the preseason stuff, I switched to Dallas's offensive playbook. So that's why we took off, and you will notice the stats for Justin Herbert are much better because the Charger offense playbook just doesn't fit what Justin Herbert does. These are much, much better stats. 4,500 yards, 27 touchdowns to just 6 picks. Justin Herbert's back to being the guy that we know he can be. And even Austin Eckler had a good year. I thought that he might have a little bit of a drop-off because we switched playbooks, but no, he had a very good year. And then receiving-wise, much more like it. I'm happy that we switched playbooks because Quentin Johnston had a good year. So did Keenan Allen. So did Mike Williams. Just spreading the ball. You love to see it. Absolutely amazing stuff. Kenneth Murray. We're still in charge of defense, by the way. Kenneth Murray had 109 tackles. Kendricks had 93. Samuel had 83. Tackle for loss leader was Bosa with 21. And it says he's an award winner. Does that mean he already won an award, or did he win one this year? I don't know. Khalil Mack had 19. Tackles for loss, B.J. Hill had 17, so he ended up being a productive signing for us. Kendrick had 16. Sack leader was Bosa with 12. Mack 10.5. The rookie, or the second-year man, didn't really do much, Jason Drew, but that's okay. That's fine. He's still developing pretty well. And then a couple picks from a few different players, but I like the fact that Justin Herbert developed and threw for more yardage, because that's more along the lines of what Justin Herbert does. So now we take on our rivals, the Raiders. In the divisional round. A trip back to the AFC Championship is on the line. Can we make it 2 straight? 2 straight AFC titles? Appearances? And we do. Taking on the Ravens. That's tough. We beat the Ravens last year, though, in the divisional, I think, to take on the Chiefs in the championship. But we take on the Ravens. That's tough. That's real tough. Ooh, okay. Panthers and Eagles, actually, in the NFC side of things. This Ravens game is going to be tough. But I think we can get it done. 12-5. I mean, we beat them last year. Why couldn't we get it done again? Come on, Chargers. Dallas playbook. Gets it done 24-17. We're taking on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So look at that year-on-year progress. Year number 1, we made it to the wild card, got beat by the Chiefs. Year number 2, we made it to the AFC Championship, got beat by the Chiefs. Year number 3, we make it to the Super Bowl and have a chance to win it. This is big. This is very, very big. We know that the Eagles are a tough team, but we had a better record than them. We're going to jump in and see this game. Oh, I really hope we can get it done after 3 seasons. Oh, man, this Charger team. I hope we can do it. Let's jump in. Try to help this team win a championship. If we win, we'll go another year to try to defend our championship. If we lose, we'll go another year to try to win a championship. So, either way, we're going to go one more season. But I hope that we go into that last season with a championship. Let's go find out. The Eagles already have a championship in this rebuild, so we don't. They need to go easy on us. It's our time. Move over. It's the Chargers' time. 7-7. We tied it up, but they score quickly. It's 14-0 or 14-7. 17-7. We put another one on the board, 14-17. We're into the 4th quarter, and I don't like the look of things. Eagles are driving. They're driving. They're driving. They score. Ooh, okay. So if we jump in here, try to help this Charger team out, we've got a press coverage around the board and 1 middle safety. I like the look of that, especially with Mike Williams. Herbert didn't really put that ball where it needed to be. Maybe I should have floated it, lobbed it up. That could have been a little bit better, I guess. I don't know. That didn't really work too well. And remember, we probably can't run the ball too well because they've got a great offense or a defensive line. I got to get that ball away. It's going to get picked off, and we might be losing the championship. We might be losing the bowl. Maybe I shouldn't have jumped in because I just screwed up the momentum right there. That's on me. We got it back. Okay, I'm not going to jump in. Come on, 3rd and goal. We put it in. It's 21-24. 2nd and 4, 1st and 10. We use all of our timeouts. 3rd and 12. Ball game. We couldn't get it done. The Eagles beat us 24-21 to win the Super Bowl. So we will go another season, year number 4, without a championship. Man, that's so tough. Eagles are just such a good team, man. They're so well built. They've got a great offense and maybe even a better defense. But that gives us promise for year number 4. We made it to the championship, made it to the Super Bowl, but came away just short. Maybe if I didn't jump in and throw the ball away and waste a couple minutes, maybe we would have had some good things happen. But I don't know. It's too tough to say. It could have went either way. We might have still lost. Who knows? But the season recap is Kevin Byard with the Super Bowl MVP. I'm sure he had the pick that I threw. Josh Allen, regular season MVP. No awards for us, but that's okay. We're fine being denied our true glory. But we go into the year 3 off season with a lot of good momentum. We just made the Super Bowl. We're not going to have a good draft pick, but there's some solid players down the board that we're interested in. As long as there is free agents, if we go all in on free agency, and there's not really anybody that I want here. I don't really want Isaiah Spiller, as good as he could be. We have Eckler, so we're fine on that. I'm pretty solid. Let's go to free agency. Come on. We've had 2 years of just absolute trash free agents. Let's see if year number 3 can give us, because I got money burning a hole in my pocket. Speaking of pocket, it's Tyler Lockett. There's nobody here. If kickers and punters are at the top of your free agent class, then you're not going to have a good free agent class. So forget about going all in. I mean, we could bring in Rachaad White to be a backup running back, I guess, since we just let Isaiah Spiller walk. Maybe J.C. Jackson as a depth corner. Jamal Adams. Like, it's just, I haven't been getting lucky in these past couple rebuilds of getting actual good free agent classes. I wish that I could have some that are decently good, but it's just not happening for me. There's just nobody that wants to not sign with their team and be a free agent. I got money burning. Nobody wants any of it. Receiver, we don't need receivers really. We're pretty good. Tight end, we're pretty good. Offensive line, we're solid enough unless there's a guard that helps us out right away, and it doesn't look like there is. Defensive line, no. D tackles, no. There's another wasted free agent class. Just another wasted class. I'll offer Roger McCreary just because he's young. If we could bring in 2 corners, that'd be nice. That would probably help us out. But that's all we're going to do, basically. We've got 3 guys targeted. They all signed, and they all signed with us. So we bring J.C. Jackson actually back to L.A. I forgot about that. I didn't even realize. We bring him back to L.A. Oh, but it's just a little frustrating that we couldn't get anybody there. But we're looking pretty solid. Keenan Allen's starting to regress a little bit, but he should be good enough for this last season here. Hopefully we win. And then Eric Kendrick's starting to regress, which is what we expected. But now we have J.C. Jackson and Roger McCreary. And there's not really any replacements in free agency anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. North is a 71, but he's still not good enough to be replacing Khalil Mack just yet. So, I mean, we're a good team. We're good enough to get to the Super Bowl, obviously. I don't really even know what we do in the draft. I mean, we probably need to get a guard and maybe another corner. But other than that, I don't really know. I don't really even know. We're kind of in that weird, like, limbo area where we're good, but we've got a couple guys that are starting to get a little older. I could make some trades, I guess. Try to get better. I could try to go all in this year and make some trades. Maybe that's what I'll do. We're picking at probably pick 31, I would guess. Or pick 30, either one. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make some trades. Because there's just not a lot of talent here that I'm going to get. So if we go to the offensive line spots, there are some very good tackles. And we know a lot about these guards. The center class isn't amazing, but Ben Nicholson looks really good. Ben Nicholson looks really good. We'll figure out the rest of these tackles, I guess. And maybe there's a corner that I want. Probably not. Maybe this guy, Matthias Groves, I guess. Sure, whatever. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to trade draft picks later in years, because if we win, obviously, this next season, then we won't go any further, so those draft picks won't matter. But maybe we should try to go all in, grab some players. Let's talk about it. Let's go to the draft center and see what we can do. So we've got some assets, obviously. We've got all these picks for 2027, 2028. We can trade those. We're sticking with Justin Herbert. We've got 2 decent running backs. Wide receiver, we could use another one since Keenan Allen is kind of regressing now. Maybe that's something. He is 34 years old. Tight end we're fine with. Offensive line, we're solid enough at the moment. Defensive line, maybe we need to get a new D tackle or pass rusher in general. And then we need to get an outside line. We need to get a right outside linebacker. And maybe a corner. Ugh. Okay. So let's talk right outside linebacker first. Who is a right outside linebacker that we could feasibly bring to the team? TJ Edwards is 30, but remember, we're trying to go all in one season, so Tryon Shoyinka's gone up to an X factor, but he's overall hasn't matched. I'd like a guy that, I mean, Nakobe Dean just won Super Bowl MVP for the Eagles. If we could take him off the Eagles, that would be real nice. Get offers. Joey Bosa straight up. Well, I'm not going to do that. I can give you, I don't have a lot of offensive line depth, unfortunately, but I can give you, I have middle linebacker depth. I can give you Dayan Henley. They don't like that, but I've got picks. I've got first round picks I can give. How about a 2028 second round pick? That doesn't move the needle very much at all. What about a first round pick? Okay, it's probably going to be a little bit too tricky to get Nakobe Dean. Dre Greenlaw isn't that expensive. Kayvon Thibodeau. I wonder how hard he'd be able to, or how hard he'd be to get. Dom Lucas, he was the first overall pick a few years ago. Or maybe even last year. How about if I trade a draft pick? Nope. Alright, so we'll probably have to cool our jets a little bit on who we're trying to get. Uche would be interesting. Tyree Wilson's gone up to an X factor? Really? Tyree Wilson's an X factor and a pretty solid overall. Now we're talking. We're cooking with gas right now. I'll give a 4th round pick this year and a 5th round pick in 2027. That's declined, but we're really speaking the same language right now. How about a 4th round pick in 2028? Ooh, so close. So very close. Okay, I can give you instead of a 4th in 2020, I can give you a 4th in 2027, I guess. Just give you all my 4s. Trade offer accepted. So Henley, a 1st, and 3 4s for Tyree Wilson. So that figures out, or that's gets done with our right outside linebacker spot. We don't need anything there. The only thing that we could use as another corner, and corner shouldn't be like that difficult to go after, especially because there's a lot of good value corners. But who do we go after? Emmanuel Forbes at 83 is probably not the guy. Deontay Banks. How hard is Deontay Banks to grab? They don't have any trade packages. Okay, we don't really have offensive linemen to give. But I do have Tui Peloto. That's actually pretty solid already off the bat. And then if we just throw some draft picks at you, how's that? I got a 3rd round pick in 2027. Doesn't really entice you that much, but how about a 2nd round pick in 2028? That's what I'm talking about. And then I'll give you a 5th in 6th. And they say no to that. Okay. Thought they'd say yes. How about a 6th in 2026? Trade offer accepted. So we bring in Deonte Banks. That's a good corner to add to the team. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are going all in. Absolutely all in. We don't need these draft picks later in the seasons if we're trying to get what we're going for here. So the defense has just gotten a little bit better. We bring in Deonte Banks. That's a 4th corner. We have Tyree Wilson. So the linebackers are looking good now. I feel confident with the defense. We should try to get a receiver. We should probably try to get a receiver. I don't know who that receiver is. We still have a 1st-round pick. We still have a 1st-round pick, but I don't know who the receiver is that we're going to get. Who's the guy? Who is the guy? Puka made his way to the Colts. Interesting. Puka did really well in our Dolphins rebuild. Who's the guy we bring in? Do we try to weaken the Eagles again and try to get Devontae Smith? That'd probably be too difficult. Christian Kirk, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra. Jaden Reed's a superstar? That's crazy. Juju, Devontae. Should we try to bring in like a Devontae or a Cooper Kupp just because they're a little bit older? We probably would be able to bring them in. Probably wouldn't hurt to try, would it? Let's try to get like a Devontae Adams. We've got the cap room for it. What could I give them? I could give them Josh Palmer. I mean, we're trying to go all in. Or do I give them Keenan Allen? I can't really give them Keenan Allen, can I? What can I give to start this deal off? Just draft picks? I don't really want to do just draft picks. How about a 2nd-round pick in 2027? Okay. 1st-round pick in 2027. Maybe Devontae's not the guy. I was hoping that maybe because he's a little bit older, it would be slightly easier to trade for him, but maybe that's not the case. Drake London, Brandon Ayuk. There's got to be a receiver that's solid and easy to trade for. What about Puka? We made the trade for Puka in the Dolphins video. How hard is he to trade for here? I mean, I know he's a little bit higher of an overall. Okay, he's not super difficult, especially with that 2nd-round pick. So if we throw that 2nd-round pick and pair it alongside a Josh Palmer, how's that? Trade offer accepted straight up. Okay, so we bring in Puka. So that adds Puka to Mike Williams and Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. But that is a nice addition to the team. Even though he's normal development, it is still a nice addition. So that's good. Puka now is into the team. He's playing down with morale, but he'll go back up. Okay, so now the only other thing that I could see upgrading is on the defensive line. We could maybe get somebody else for Khalil Mack because we still have that 1st-round pick in 2027. That's the only other thing that I could see getting upgraded. But I don't know who we go for. That's the only problem. Do we go for a D-tackle? I mean, this guy's young and an X factor already, DeAndre Boss. But he wouldn't even start over BJ Hill. I could start him over BJ Hill, but he wouldn't just right off the bat. Khalil Mack is an 80 overall. How hard is Micah Parsons to get? Probably impossible. But I'll throw everything I have at him. 1 1st-round pick's not good enough. I'll give stuff that I have. I don't think I have enough to get Micah Parsons. No, we don't have enough. I was just trying. We don't have enough to get him. What about Christian Wilkins? We had him in the Dolphins rebuild, but I don't know if he does what we need. Aaron Donald's a little bit older, but probably not. I don't really know where to go. It might be D-tackle. Maybe D-tackle is the best option? Like Jonathan Allen? Not for our first round pick this year, but a first round pick next year. It's okay, but I don't really have anybody else that I could give them that they want. That's the only problem. Like, I have Sebastian Joseph Day, but they probably don't want him. It doesn't really do that much. I have all the picks. Take them all. Jonathan Allen's not going to be available, at least with what we're offering. What about Jordan Davis? That's a little bit closer. Jalen Carter? I know he's a 99. He develops crazy. Jordan Davis is possible. Sexy Dexy? Let's go for Jordan Davis. We could probably bring him in. I don't know what else I can give. I guess I can give my third round pick this year. Almost accepted. I don't really have anything else except for my second round pick this year. Does that matter that much? Do we just ride it out with a freaking first round pick and that's it? Maybe. Trade offer accepted. That's a lot to give up for Jordan Davis, but that helps the team out a little bit. We're going all in, ladies and gentlemen. I've just done it. I've just made ourselves go all in. We have absolutely no picks for the next 2 seasons, but we add Jordan Davis to the defensive line, which certainly helps. The defense looks a lot better, especially with Tyree Wilson in there. All right, we'll see how this goes. We have 1 pick, the first round pick. We'll have to make it count. Let's start drafting and see what we got. Who's going to be on the board when we draft at pick 31? It's probably going to be an offensive lineman. Probably going to be an offensive lineman. Did I add anybody to the favorites? I didn't. What are we looking at here? What are we looking at? We've got Morris Schaefer, who I was intrigued by, and Ben Nicholson, who I really liked. Okay, so Ben Nicholson's still on the board. That's who I'm going to go for. Ben Nicholson, he's a good athlete. He looks really solid. Only normal development kind of sucks, but maybe he's a good enough overall where he can start right away. Although he'd have to be higher than a 78, I think, so he's probably not going to be that. And then we only have 1 more pick, so it's a 7th round pick. So grabbing a non-development safe guard is kind of upsetting. Maybe more Schaefer would have had a development trait, but I mean, he looked good. He didn't look bad. We'll see what his actual overall is. But we're going all in. We are all in. He's a 73, so he's not going to start this season or ever, probably. The class had a guard go number 1, Jackson Hunter, 82 overall. This is a pretty solid class. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. It is go time. You know what the team looks like. You know what the team looks like. It is season 4. We're going all in to try to get back to that Super Bowl. I hope we can do it. I mean, look at our numbers. We got a good team. We've got Justin Herbert in this Dallas offense once again. We brought in Puka Nacua, so that should help out on the receiving end. We brought in Tyree Wilson on the defense. That'll help out. Jordan Davis is here now. I mean, Deonte Banks. We look a lot better. We definitely look a lot better. We're going to find out how good this team is. I will see you guys at the end of year number 4. I'm expecting about the same results, maybe even better than last season. Year 4 is finished, and we did even better, man. We've just been continually getting better. The progress has been crazy. 15-2 we finished this season, year number 4. Absolute domination. Obviously, the best record in the AFC. And Dallas's playbook is really helping Justin Herbert become the guy. 4,300 yards, 38 touchdowns, 5 picks. There might be a better playbook for Justin Herbert, but Dallas is a very, Very solid one for him. And it's not taken away from Austin Eckler, which is very, very nice. Because Austin Eckler is a very good, talented running back in Madden and in real life. And the receivers are getting usage. Puka did not catch a pass. Okay, he should have caught at least a few, but it looks like that was kind of a waste, I guess. He didn't catch any passes. Very weird. Defensively, I'm looking for Deontay Banks and Tyree Wilson, really. 109 tackles for Kenneth Murray. He's been a very solid player for us. Very, very solid player. 18 tackles for loss for Khalil Mack, leads the team. Bosa's right up there with 14. Sack leader, 16.5 for Bosa, 15.5 for Mack, 3 for J.J. North. He actually got some play, and he has the future starter tag, too. B.J. Hill, 2.5. Jordan Davis, only 1.5. Didn't really get a lot of usage. Tyree Wilson, not a great year. Very interesting. Deontay Banks had 2, so did a couple other guys. Okay, that's a weird defensive season, at least in terms of the numbers. But, hey, the offense carried us, I guess. 15-2 versus 10-7. This should be fairly straightforward against the Raiders. The Raiders. And it is 35-25. We take the W against the boys. The good guys win. And we will take on the Chiefs in the AFC title game. We had to play the Ravens, I think, last playoff or last AFC title, AFC championship. They didn't even get out of the first round. They lost to the Chiefs. It's Eagles and Bears. Please, Bears, please beat the Eagles. I do not want to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl if we make it. Oh, man, here we go. Here we go. Chiefs, Chargers. Please, 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 please get it done. 31-27, and the Bears beat the Eagles. Oh, baby. We actually have a shot to win a championship here in year number 4. We take on the Chicago Bears. Duh, Bears. Can we get it done, man? We don't have to play the Eagles, who could have been our kryptonite. This is very, very useful for us. This is big. 10-7, and they were the 2 seed. That's crazy. 10-7 as the 2 seed in the NFC. We obviously are the clear favorite, the clear better team, but we got to decide it on the field. 130 tackles and no sacks for Tremaine Edmonds. That is a true coverage linebacker right there. We will see what we can do against Chicago. We got to get it done, man. We got to get it done. It is certainly weird seeing the Bears in the Super Bowl, but they're on a miracle run, I guess, and they lead 7-0 in the second quarter. We tie it back up. 14-7, love to see it. We kicked a field goal at the end of the half. 24-7, we're on track, baby. We are on track. We just couldn't beat the Eagles, but oh my God. Oh my God, we are 34-14 with a minute to go. And we've done it. The Chargers are world champions. Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, Derwin James. We kept basically the entire team like I usually try to do. And we finally did it. We just needed to not play the Eagles. And we got past them. Thank you, Justin Fields, for sucking, but you were good when we needed you to be against the Eagles. And we got it done, man. We're world champions. The rebuild has been complete. It has been complete. Another successful rebuild. We have taken the Chargers and got them a championship, possibly for the first time ever. But we've done it, man. Dallas's playbook on offense really changed Justin Herbert, because those first 2 seasons when we were just rocking the Charger playbook, it just doesn't really fit Herbert's scheme or Herbert's play style for some weird reason. You'd think that Madden would put a playbook in there that would fit what Justin Herbert does in real life, which is just throw the ball around the field. And they don't do that, at least not in simulation. So we had to change it to a playbook that actually does let it benefit towards that, and it worked out for us. It worked out for us. We got ourselves the Super Bowl, and the video has become complete. Let's take a look at the season recap and then wrap things up. Wrap things up. Season recap. Herbert wins the MVP. We don't win any awards, but we didn't win any awards the entire video. We went all in season 4. Traded all of our assets, but it got us there in the end. You play to win the game, and you play to win a Super Bowl, and that's exactly what we did. We got ourselves a championship. Let's take one final look at the roster that won us a championship. Justin Herbert is an X factor now. So is Mike Williams, by the way. I still don't know why Puka didn't get any touches, but I don't care. It looks like Keenan Allen has retired, by the way, but that's okay. This is the final team without Keenan Allen. We know that Keenan Allen is missing. We came up clutch with some decent offensive linemen later in the years. I think year number 2 is where we got our good offensive linemen, especially this man right here, Ernie Ward. What a stud he was. And I think we got him in, what, the second round, I think? He was a projected 3 to 4 round, but we got him in the second round. He's a stud. And then we got Moses, obviously. We kept Slater, we kept Johnson, we kept Saylor. And that seems to have worked out for us. And then on the defense, we obviously traded for Tyree Wilson. But this man right here, former right outside linebacker coming out of college, but became a free safety and absolutely produced. I knew he was going to be a freak. He was just a freak athlete in general, so I knew he was going to be a safety. And he turned out to be very, very solid for us, so I'm happy about that. The cornerback spot was a little weird, but we figured it out at the end with bringing in McCreary, Deonte Banks, and J.C. Jackson. They paired alongside Asante Samuel pretty well. And then this man, Jason Drew, maybe the other guy, McDonald, would have been a better player to draft because he was just the better athlete, and maybe we should have just taken him purely on that. But I still think that Jason Drew is a very good player. He's probably, honestly, better in live games because he's just got better rushing stats. He's got 92 power moves. It's crazy. So he's a solid player for us. Very, very solid player. And then obviously we have Kenneth Murray, who actually has gone up with morale. He's gone up to an 87, so that's pretty awesome. And then we've got obviously Derwin James, but a lot of this team is the same team. The defense is a little bit more changed than the offense, but yeah, we just added a bunch of really, really good players. And one guy that didn't get a lot of play time is Mr. Nazir Tapp, who I wish got a little bit more play time. I will move him into the starting lineup just so I can take a look at him, or into the rotation. But this man, 99 speed, former receiver, 99 speed, 92 excel, turned him into a running back. He was probably worse off as a running back, but he looks like a running back. I mean, he's got 82 agility. He's got 78 ball carrying vision. His what is it? His juke move's good. His spin move's not great. His change direction's pretty good. Like, he looks like a fairly decent running back. It's just his break tackle is not very high at all. But he's an interesting player, that is for sure. At 99 speed, I had to take him at 99 speed. I couldn't pass that up. But that is our team, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Chargers a championship, possibly for the first time ever. I'm sure that is what it is, but I don't honestly know. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to suggest any other team rebuilds or any other challenge rebuilds or something like that, leave them down below in the comments. Other than that, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.